What's up, bandwagonites? That's what I'm calling everyone going forward. I almost said the bandwagoners, but that one sounds like it could potentially sound like something bad if I said it too fast. So we're going with wagonites.
Oh, good
Uh,
call. Good call.
yeah, good call. Today we got Josh and I on the hopping on the podcast. I don't know if you guys have missed a few episodes, but we've been rocking kind of a new format where it's usually like two of us or sometimes three of us, but it's kind of given us the opportunity to dive into a broader category of subjects that we want at like a shorter time frame, but we can kind of like get a little more into it. So like today we got some really, really fun stuff to talk about. And when I say fun, I mean kind of scary. But before we get into that, like Josh, how's your weekend been?
It's been all right. I had jury duty this week, and it was one of the most stressful experiences of my life. I got put on a criminal case, and I am glad it's over with. I'm glad. I'm
Wow.
glad. Yeah.
Uh, was it stressful and fun, or just like stressful and no fun attached to that at all?
There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. This is kind of interesting," and then that moment passed. And yeah, because I went to the courthouse Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
God, that sounds stressful. I'm
Yeah.
curious too. Like, how much do
Yeah.
you get paid at jury duty? I've never done it.
Nothing. Well, I mean, you get paid, but it's. I got $35 a day.
$35. Like,
Yeah.
I got to break down like the hourly rate, but that's got to be lower than minimum wage.
Oh, dude, it's like $1, dude. It was crazy. So Monday I was there from 9 to 5:30. Tuesday I was there from 11 to 10 p.m. And then Wednesday I was there from 10 to like 1, I think.
That that is horrible. And I don't
Yeah.
know off the top of my head. I know a lot of companies give you like jury duty time, but is that
Right.
required? Like, does every job have to do that?
Yeah. So like your employer has to compensate you for any time that you miss. And like there's like a letter the court will give you to prove you were actually at jury duty, and like your HR will ask for that so they can
Okay,
verify it. Yeah.
I can. I guess that's kind of nice, but it's like $35 to still basically have to go to work, but do like work that you're not qualified or trained for. Does not sound like a nice quality vacation to me.
Dude, no, it sucked, dude. And like it was a criminal case. So it was like whatever we decided was going to have a major impact on somebody's life.
Gosh, that is really stressful.
Yeah. But yeah, I made it. I got to the weekend. I honestly haven't had a lot of free time this summer. So that also just added to the, I'm still busy, but here I am. What about you? What's good?
Speaking of juries, have you heard of the new trailer for a certain TV show from a certain company that isn't very big and isn't oversaturated and isn't talked about?
Yeah, she's big. She's green. She was supposed to be bigger. She-Hulk, attorney at law.
She's hulky. That should have been the catchphrase. She hulky.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like,
look
oh,
at
she
that.
hulky.
Yeah, I watched it. I liked it better than the first trailer they put out. That's all I can say about that. It looks like it'll be actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it looks humorous. It looks like a show that you can kind of shut your brain off to. And I'm not even saying that as a diss. Like, I actually enjoy that in TV shows. I don't know if She Hulk looks like my audience, but I totally see what they're doing. It seems like a little bit different of a spin from the other shows. The one complaint though I have is the CGI is horrendous. Like Disney, Marvel, we've seen your CGI, we've seen you do quality stuff. That is not quality. I'm sure it's not the CGI team's fault either. Like my guess is they're overrushed and under budgeted, and they're just like working with what they can do. I'm gonna blame this on the corporate overlord, Mr. Mickey.
Gangster Mickey.
Yeah, Gangsta Mickey. But yeah, like it seems cool. I feel like we have some other interesting trailers. There was one that I was very, very nervous about. Um, I still don't know how I feel, but I think I have positive feelings. Did you know that Lord of the Rings is making a show and it's going to be on Amazon?
Yeah, I've been following that pretty closely. The Second Age.
Hmm.
It's from the Silmarillion, and it'll be called The Rings of Power. Dude,
Yeah.
that trailer looks pretty cool.
Is it just me, or did it look like weirdly spot on to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings?
It did, yeah.
Like the
I wonder if they
exact same.
used some of the like props and like stuff, equipment and techniques from that. Because like, dude, he got screwed over when he made The Hobbit, and like that's a whole other story. But it looks like they like kind of went back to his original stuff. Um, Dude, this is a very contentious topic though for Lord of the Rings fans. A lot of people hate it because it's not a page for page, letter by letter adaptation,
Hmm.
and it says in the title like it's inspired by. So I don't know. I best of luck to the cast and crew. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, huge Tolkien fan, so I hope it's good.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm really excited for it. I'm okay with it not following the plot line completely because I feel like we already like I feel like Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings so well already that like I don't
Yeah.
want to shot for shot like copy or recreation of his story because it's like what's the point? It's not that old. Um, it still holds up, maybe minus some of like the still frame like blur shots from like Fellowship of the Ring. But that was like just a stylized like filming technique from like the early 2000s, late 90s, which you'd see in everything anyways. But like I think Amazon is I think they're playing it smart. It's like inspired, not a total copy. But like also at the same time, I don't know how much money they spent on this. They like can't have this flop. This can't be like a Halo mess up.
Oh, dude, they spent so I don't have the exact number. It's a lot of money though. So if this doesn't do well, I mean, you know what? This is pocket change to Jeff Bezos, so it doesn't really matter. But
Mhm.
they spent a lot of money on this.
Well, I'm willing to give it a shot. I love Lord of the Rings, so like let's go. Let's see. I'm curious if you've seen some other trailers that were announced recently. But can you tell me were these released directly to YouTube or was this part of Comic Con?
Yeah, San Diego Comic Con, dude. Like everything got showcased there. Um, yeah, the Comic Con out there has turned into like a big, like it's like an investor showcase almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so many MCU properties. To be honest, like it's too much. I have kind of lost interest in all that stuff.
Same here. Aren't they phasing it to
DC
like 2024 or something? It's like
something,
really
man.
far.
Yeah, I will say they did have a Black Panther trailer that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the first song they used, but then it slowly changes into "All Right" by Kendrick, and it's
That's
like a
cool.
remixed. And I mean, it's gonna be a very emotional movie because Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed away, and they are going to include that in the film. So it's going to be a very emotional film. That's probably the only one I really care about as
Mm-hmm.
of now because I'm just kind of I'm tired. I'm a huge comic book fan. Love the MCU. I'm just kind of tired of it now.
I'm kind of burnt out with. It's weird. I'm burnt out a little with superhero shows and movies right now, but I've still been reading a decent amount of comics from Marvel and DC. But the one movie I'm very excited for is Shazam 2. I watched the
Yes.
first Shazam like I'm a little late. I watched it like a year ago on the plane, but it's so funny. Like it's not he doesn't have good villains. The trailer of this, the villain doesn't look good. The plot doesn't even look good, but it's Shazam and it's funny and like I'm just here for the ride of that. Like
Yeah.
I I'm really
And
excited.
it's heartwarming. It's like
Hmm.
so it's about family and yeah, like the first one is such a great like you can watch it with your family and like you feel good watching it. Um, the inverse is they also released another Black Adam trailer. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not. Tell me a little bit about Black Adam. Is he a DC property?
Yeah, he basically is the same thing as Shazam, but in like the most recent iteration of him, he is the ruler of a Middle Eastern nation called Kandak, and he's like a benevolent dictator where his country like he really takes care of it. They're very
Hmm.
safe. Like it's a pretty good place to live, but also like he is the rule of law. Like he's literally a god, and like if you step out of line, you will be disappeared, you'll get tortured, you'll be killed. And so it's a very interesting dynamic of like what would the world look like if you had a hero take it to the furthest limits. Like, sure, everyone's safe, but also like you don't have any rights. I'd be curious to see what they do in the film, though.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting premise, and I'd be willing to check it out. It depends though. Like if John Wick is out at that point, I'll probably be in theaters for that. Even though I've only seen the first one, but they're on.
I
Is
think this
this
is the
the?
fourth one.
I know, but like which trailer? Like, is this the first trailer, second
Oh,
trailer? I
I
don't even
think
know.
I think it's the second. I think it's the first trailer, and they released a teaser before. I don't
Mhm.
know. These days, it's hard to keep track. There's so many like trailers and teasers and all sorts of things
Well, this
now.
movie got pushed back. I wasn't supposed to come out in 2020, or like
Oh, really?
I
I didn't know
believe
that.
I don't know. It was 2020 or 2021. This was supposed to come out the same week, I believe, as The Matrix 4, but then COVID happened, and then somehow Matrix 4, whatever it's called,
Which I still
the
haven't seen.
The Matrix Unleashed. I'm just
Yeah,
making
right.
up titles right now, but
Yeah,
whatever that
I
is.
still haven't seen it. But I don't know, like, and like all this stuff. At one hand, like it's super overwhelming. I
Hmm.
guess there's some excitement. For me, it's just too much for me. But it also is like, what year is it? Like, there's a new Lord of the Rings property out. A new Shazam coming out. There's a new John Wick coming out. Disturbed put out a new song, and then our big topic of the day, a certain band who has been a major, heavy hitter in the music industry, released a new single and video and has a new album coming out in September.
And kind of a surprise drop. I feel like this came out of nowhere. I feel like I follow music blogs and stuff pretty well, and I don't recall seeing any hype or build up on this at all.
You know what? Now that you say that, it kind of came out of nowhere for me too. I think I just saw like people talking about it. And for those who don't know, we're talking about Slipknot. They released a new song and video for the Dying song, "Time to Sing."
And it's crazy. So for anyone who hasn't really listened to much Slipknot, they've been around since like I believe '96. I have to double check. They've been around since 1995, so they've had their fair share of history in the metal community and the music scene in general, just due to like uh, just the look of them has always been like very controversial and has gotten lots of headwind from like non metal communities, and I think they're always kind of talked about in a sense. But one really cool thing with Slipknot is their budgets for their videos have always been very very high. Like
Mm-hmm.
they made an album a couple years ago which I loved. I can't remember the name of the track that was premiered, but they did like the music video looked like a movie to me. So like I just always know when Slipknot releases some type of content that whether you like it or not, like the quality is going to be there, and like I think that's worth just like checking out at least one time. What do you think? Do you think the quality was high on this one?
Yeah, and I think that's part of like who they are. They go all out. I don't know like how closely you followed their career. Like, do you know much about like where they came from and like how they got to where they are now?
I know, I know a little. So like I I actually wasn't a Slipknot fan growing up. I I was one of those people that always kind of made fun of Slipknot. I just like didn't really like Corey Taylor, the singer's voice, very well. And then as I got older, actually post college is when I started to get into them. I think just working at a record label at that time, a lot of people were just like playing Slipknot, and like the more I'd heard it, and as an adult, I was like, these guys actually have a lot of like layers and pieces to their music that I just like probably didn't notice or think about in middle school. But can you tell us a little bit about the origin of the band of Slipknot? Like, is it a small group? Is it a big group? I feel like people would probably be surprised hearing some of the details on how these guys like were started.
Yeah, so they're a bunch of Midwest boys. Represent. They're from Iowa, and there are 9 of them, and they all have a number assigned to them, 0 through 8. I Off the top of my head, I don't know who is which number.
Same.
They wear jumpsuits that they change up every once in a while, and they all wear custom masks that they also change up every once in a while. Because like when they first started, it was the whole thing was like it's about the music, it's not about who we are. And like you said, like that got people that that was back when like there was still kind of like, I think it was like the post like satanic panic. So people, were all up about like Marilyn Manson and Korn and all that, like how they were a
Mhm.
bad influence. Same thing with these guys. And yeah, they're so interesting. Corey Taylor, the vocalist, he's also in a band called Stone Sour. He's actually not the original vocalist, but so there's him on vocals. Then you have Jim Root on guitar. You have Mick, can't remember his last name, also on guitar.
Mick Jagger.
Yes.
Kidding.
They have two percussionists who, one of which is Sean Clown, who directs their music videos. And the other percussionist, I don't know if they've revealed his identity because he used to be, it was another original member, Chris Fenn, I think, who left the band for, I believe, undisclosed reasons. And I don't think it was like a good departure.
Yeah, he was the last original member, if I'm correct,
Um,
or one of the last original members.
yeah, I think you're right because yeah, like I said, Corey was an original. They also have a DJ named Sid who also is called DJ Starscream. They have the Pinhead guy, Craig, who does samples, and I think he does the keyboard. Um, their bass player, man, what's the bass player's name? I actually don't know because the original bass player unfortunately passed away, and then their drummer left the band a few years ago, and then he also unfortunately passed away after leaving the band.
And a unique
Um,
thing with these guys too is if you've looked at the lineup, they've had a lot of massive lineup changes
yeah,
constantly throughout their career. So it's like to stay at the level of success that they've had, but also like to maintain the quality of music, I feel like is very, very rare. And I still can't believe that Corey Taylor isn't an original member because I just can't even picture Slipknot without him. Like his voice is just so
yeah.
specific. Um,
Well, I mean, like if you look at that first album that he's not on, nobody really knows about it unless you're like a hardcore Slipknot fan. It's
I
so
don't know.
different. It's so different compared to what we have now.
Iowa
And
is the first album I heard from them.
okay,
Mm.
which yeah, like hardcore fans, I think that's like the favorite album of a lot of the hardcore fans because it's considered to be like one of their most aggressive
Mhm.
albums. And what's crazy if you're listening and you're unfamiliar with the band and you decide to check them out and you decide this is not for me, this is crazy, I don't like this because of the way they sound or the way they look. They have won Grammys, like I believe multiple Grammys. They've won a lot of other awards.
Yeah, Rick
So
Rubin. Rick Rubin has produced at least
yes,
one record of theirs, and this man has like co-owned Def Jam Records. He's done Beastie Boys, Slayer, Linkin Park.
Johnny
Um,
Cash.
yeah, I had to shout out Linkin Park at least once on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. Like I'm just like the dude. Hold on, what's Red Hot Chili Peppers? Like, let's make a list of bands that Rick Rubin hasn't worked with. That might be
Yeah, right.
easier.
Who hasn't he worked with?
But
But he works
that's
with
a huge
talented
deal.
people. Yeah,
Hmm.
and he work. Yeah, so they're very successful, but unfortunately, like that has come at a high cost. These guys, the original members at least, they're all like in their 40s now. Like you were saying, they started in like '96 is when they like got onto the map, and yeah, they have lost. I think at least I think all three members who have passed away. I think allegedly it has been due to drug overdoses.
Hmm.
Um, but or wait, is it two or three? Paul Gray, bassist, and then Joey Jordison passed away. Chris Fenn, I believe, is still alive. He did not pass away,
Yeah,
but still,
he's the
that's.
one that left. I think for undisclosed reasons.
But I mean, considering like you have to think like, this is a band who's been around since '96. That's a lot of history to have with somebody, and they view each other as brothers, as family, and so they have lost family members because that rock star lifestyle. It's hard to get through it. Corey Taylor is very open about his mental health, like his substance abuse problems.
He
He's a
recorded.
survivor of abuse.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
recorded a video segment with his therapist. Like I remember years
yeah.
ago and released that to the world, which I can't imagine ever being an easy thing to do.
And like yeah, if you're listening, you decide to check it out, just trigger warning, like he went through some very horrendous stuff, so just FYI if you decide to check it out, it's not easy to watch.
But that's the unique thing with Slipknot, I think, is this band has been uh, known in the past for having very disturbing fans that would call themselves maggots and would like spit on people and inflict violence at shows. And they've had countless times have been like coined as like a satanic band, mainly because every album they have a different era of a mask, and their masks are very scary and they're unique, and their logo is kind of it's pointed and looks like, I feel like people could probably think it's like symbolized to like a pentagram or something, but when the band has talked about it, they've mentioned they're not a satanic band, which I think is hilarious that they even have to tell people. But they said it's a 9-star point, which represents a symbol of unity, loyalty, friendship, and remembrance. And it said Slipknot represents a battle with the fake world. And I'm just like, people, I just feel like a lot of people would never like dig into that. Like they see the outside look of Slipknot and they're not going to like dig into the lyrics and dig into the lifestyles and like the meaning behind stuff. And I think this is a band that's a perfect example of, like don't judge a book by its cover.
100%. Yeah, you have to dig into it. Like if this isn't your taste of music, you have to dig into it to appreciate it, at least give it a chance. And that's kind of like why we're here, like to kind of showcase it and introduce people to something maybe they wouldn't have normally checked out. And this new song, the Dying song, "Time to Sing." Um, what were your initial thoughts about like musically how it sounds?
I think it sounds amazing. I think Corey Taylor sounds better than ever. This is a man who, to my knowledge, has not smoked, and he stopped smoking like a couple years ago, and his voice has just like improved significantly. He's
Oh
always been able to
yeah,
scream,
yeah.
but like he's singing again, and his singing sounds phenomenal. And I love hearing that side of it. I can hear every member's like I can hear every member's instrument like
Yes.
showcased in like its own unique way in this song. The video is intense. It's fast. The new masks are horrifying as usual. Like one of them has like move like the eyeballs move on the mask, which is not something I was expecting to see. Just like the animatronics behind it, it's really cool. Like I was pretty blown away by it. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. To echo a lot of what you were saying, you can hear every member's contribution to this song, which is really impressive because there's 9 of them. So you can hear both guitars. There's a really cool bass riff you kind of hear. You can hear Sid doing some scratching on the DJ setup with what do you call that?
Turntable.
Turntable. Yeah, you can hear
Yeah.
him scratching, which is cool. You can hear the sampling. I You probably can hear the keg. Clown, he uses a keg and a baseball bat. So there's probably some of that. The drumming has really gone up a notch because those are some big shoes to fill to take up what Joey left behind.
This is Josh and I, who are not drummers, explaining drumming, by the way.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
going to get into whether there's a polyrhythm in the song because I have no idea. I'm
yeah.
just like the drums sound good or they don't. That's how I
Sounds
hear it.
cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, like there's a lot of aggression. Like a lot of these guys are like in their 40s and they're going hard. It does sound a lot like the stuff from Iowa, that aggression. But then you still
Mhm.
have like the melody of stuff from Volume 3 or All Hope Is Gone. Yeah, that hook, which they really they use the pop method of you hear the chorus at the beginning of the song,
Mhm.
which is really cool, and it's so catchy, so catchy.
Yeah. It's I love it. I've only listened to it twice so far, but I can't wait for the record to come out. I have this thing where when I hear singles, I only play them like so many times until the full album is released because I love to hear it all in one sitting.
Hmm.
Speaking of the track, though, do you have any idea what the song is about? Like,
No, and in my notes here, I wrote, I have no idea what this is about, but I'll try.
that's hilarious.
And so Corey Taylor and Slipknot's lyrics, I feel like are very universal. They touch on themes of like hardship, of loss, of grief, of surviving abuse, and not belonging,
Hmm.
and about humanity. And so I feel like there is some touching on the failures of poor leadership, of false leaders, and kind of losing faith in them, losing faith in humanity, just because of like how terrible the world can seem at times. And like that's about all I could draw from it, because otherwise I was just like, I have no idea what's happening.
That's actually not too far away. Caring, I swear it's Caring, Kerrang. I've been following that magazine for like 15 years, and I still don't really know how to say it.
I say
Kerrang.
Kerrang.
They're
Yeah, that's what I
German,
say.
right?
Oh, I have no
Kerrang.
idea.
I think I know they're somewhere in Europe. They did a recent cover story um, with Corey Taylor and kind of had him like discuss more of the meaning to the song. Because when you hear the song, like it sounds angry, it sounds violent, it sounds a little scary. Um, and when you dive into the man behind the mask, literally, he discussed. I'm not going to read the entire thing that he said, but one highlight I thought I like was, to me it just seems like it's all the outrage and none of the punishment. For the last few years, it's been very trendy to be offended and outraged by everything, and yet nothing happens, especially in my country, which is just beep blop bloop and bleep ridiculous. It's almost like the tables have turned, and the more angry people get, the more people who they're mad at just double down on the shit. Instead of there being a cause and effect on crime and punishment, now it's just like bleep blop bloop bloop you, we don't care. And like I kind of see it. Like
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's trying to be like the world leader of solving problems, but he's just like, you know what?
He's calling it out. He's calling it out, man.
Yeah, he's showing that it's
Because he's
there.
not wrong. He's not wrong.
But for people who don't listen to metal, like, are you surprised to hear are you surprised to hear a political undertone in a metal song?
Not at all, actually, because I mean, metal is like kind of countercultural, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of metal that's like, oh, I'm angry, like the world sucks, my parents don't understand me, or like the theatrics of Hail Satan, blood of children. But there are a lot of bands who talk about stuff like mental health and politics. So it to me, as a huge fan of the genre, it doesn't surprise me, but I think other people would be surprised.
For sure. And I same here. Been listening to the genre for a long time, but I think what's cool with Slipknot, especially now, is I feel like this is a perfect time to jump on the bandwagon with these guys. They're not just old yuppies. Like, these guys are rich now. Like, these guys aren't just like sitting
100%. Yeah.
around singing about barbecues and or like missing the golden days of 90s metal or whatever, which I feel like a lot of people do. Like, I think these guys are relevant in their commentary on like current events. They're like pushing the boundaries of like music videos. Like, the direction of the video is really unique. The masks are unique. And like looking through YouTube, like there was like what 15 or there was like 5 million views within the first day or so, and half of the comments
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and half of the comments were in a different language, which was so cool. I was like, these guys are worldwide now. Like, I think they're bigger in other countries than they are in the United States.
I think so too. And it goes to the what you were saying, how yeah, they look scary. People think they're satanic. The Nanogram looks like a pentagram kind of to some people. But it's about belonging. It's about people who are angry, who are hurt, channeling that energy into something art, and then for other people to gravitate towards that, and to it's kind of tribal, really.
Hmm.
Of people who might feel like outcasts, who are angry and hurt, to find that tribe that doesn't say, hey, be happy, you know put a smile on, catchy chorus, and light upbeat music. Like, be angry, that's fine, that's what we're here for. And I think that's cool.
Be angry and use that anger towards something useful. Go out there and vote or skateboard or build a kayak. I don't care. Do something with it.
Yeah,
A kayak of anger.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Like, is this a song that you would recommend new people to jump into with Slipknot, or would you recommend jumping into like the Iowa era, or gosh, what was like the biggest what was like the biggest song of theirs at first? I can't even think of the name. The one that says the
Sick.
Something Between My Eyes song.
Oh, Duality from Volume
Yeah,
3. That's probably
Duality.
their best album. Like it's close in my book, but that one like is probably their best one.
Hmm.
But I do think this is a good place to jump on. Like it's a new era for them. They have new members. They have new things to say. They have new masks. And yeah, I think this is a good, like, if you want to jump on that bandwagon, go for it. I'm all for it. This song is a banger. I do question like what what the future is for this band. Like if it's gonna become a legacy band where, because they wear masks, like you could feasibly replace members with
Hmm.
somebody else like they have, and maybe one day like it's 9 completely new people. I've talked to a friend about that. How I think it'd be cool if Slipknot wasn't just Corey Taylor and Jim Roots. It was just 9 people devoted to this kind of music and wanting to create this kind of space for people to enjoy it.
I I totally agree. I think it would fit the imagery of the Nanogram, which is what they call their logo. Uh, they're living the life of Fast and Furious. They're celebrating family, and
Yeah.
we, yeah, I could see it. It's like maybe the original or the members that are still around are like the behind the scenes, marketing people of the band, or like they help with lyrics or writing or something. But it's like, I think that would be cool to take like the name of Slipknot, but have it as a fresh take to the Gen Z crowd and whatever generation is after Gen Z that we haven't talked about yet. Gen Alpha, I think, or something
Yeah, right,
crazy.
right.
I think it's great. I would recommend starting here. It is heavy, but I think even if you don't like metal music, I would suggest like just watch the video, just look at it from a different point of view, and like I always encourage people to like check out things that they wouldn't usually check out, and I think Slipknot is a nice break from Marvel.
I think that's the best way to say it. And with that, let's get out of here. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, like, rate, subscribe, review, do all that goodness. You can listen to all of our other episodes wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts. Stay golden and rock on.
Bye.
The Bandwagon Fan Podcast is hosted by Josh Jimenez, Alex Margosa, and me, AJ Soy. Our show is produced by Kate Smith and edited by your boy, AJ. Our social media is managed by Natalia Kokulia, and our theme song, Lush Waves, is provided to us by Taylor Lewin of _audio. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.